Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today, I'm joined by one of our really treasured CMA members, a lovely lady called Sarah Blocksidge. Sarah, thank you so very much indeed for joining me today.
Lovely to be here, Janie, and to chat with you.
Oh, it's so great. So, Sarah, obviously, we've had, just prior to going live today, we've just been having a little bit of a chat. But one of the things that really intrigues me about your work is the way that, as a trainer, you've been able to pivot to take everything online, which has been immensely challenging for a lot of people. But before we go into asking you about that, would you be able to share with the viewers a little bit about the work that you do and how you help support, obviously, students, because you do teach, but also, of course, anybody else that you work with as well?
Okay, so my background was holistic practitioner. I trained back in 1999, so a long time ago, and I had regular client base that I built up over the years. And as I think happens to a lot of us, when we're interested in health and holistic working practices and things that we can do, much like yourself, we end up doing lots of courses and we become really skilled. And a natural progression from that is then to go into teaching. So I taught workshops on mindset, guided meditations, Reiki, other methods, and yoga-based workshops with chakras, all the things that I loved that help people sort of maintain their emotional harmony and balance. But for me, I felt that it was really important to always work face to face because it's all about the connection and supporting, particularly students. So it was a big shock, really, when COVID hit, because actually, I think a lot of us realised that we had to pivot. And so if you told me 18 months ago we'd be having this conversation about how I love supporting students online, I would have probably laughed. But I think, we've all had to change how we approach things. And for me, the key thing is still supporting and having that connection with students as they learn. And so having information that they can access whenever it suits them, because it's in a member area and it's pre-recorded, is fantastic. And then having live support calls and ways of interacting with them on a regular basis, I think makes a huge difference. And so I've done a complete 360. I think this is actually a really, really good way to support and train students and practitioners.
Yes, I would absolutely agree with you, because of course we've pivoted as well, in order to take, obviously in lockdown we thought, well, it's not that we were teaching online at the time, but we were looking at, what can we do to support people? So obviously these interviews for a start, and, and of course also the CMA tutorials that we do on Friday afternoons for practitioners. But you see, the thing is that I think it's remarkable what you've done. Now, as far as your course is concerned, can you tell the viewers a little bit about the topics that you actually teach? Because the thing is, I'm sure that there are a lot of people who are probably tuning into this from all over the world. And of course, obviously, the fact that you've taken things online means that you are able to now serve a global audience. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. And it's split into 3 sections, really, all of which we've got accredited with yourselves. The Reiki is something that we teach online. The main umbrella, if you like, is emotional harmony. And I believe coming out of the pandemic, or still as we are trying to come out of it, there is a huge market for those skills. And the thing that I'm really passionate about is empowering people to further their own healing journey. And so within the courses that I teach, I have something called the Seth method, which I devised from my skills over time. But essentially, it's teaching people to recognize, release, and reframe and release blocked emotions. So, those where we don't express our emotions, and understanding the impact that when we're not emotionally aware, that it has on us physically. And so the courses are split into sort of 3 elements. I still do guided journeys and visualizations because I think they can be really, really powerful. And we use crystals in those because they're very tactile. Lots of people are drawn to them. But I think the three elements brought in together, where we're looking at the emotions, we're looking at the energy, and then we're looking at sort of bringing those skills together, make it really quite a powerful qualification.
Yes, indeed, absolutely. And obviously, if you've got time differences, around the world, if you've got students who are actually, excited about joining your courses and so on, and you are working with them clearly sort of one-to-one, although you are still working obviously online, how do you deal with time differences? Are you able to work with people in different time zones?
Well, with the course content, they can log in as and when it suits them. I use an app called Slack, and so we have a workspace in there, so we can have group messages, which of course you can respond 24/7 really, or the message facility is there, and they can also direct message me, so I don't necessarily get back straight away, but they have a way of contacting me directly. And then the support calls, I make sure that we do 2 to 3 a month, but the times are done so that I've got a couple of ladies that are currently living in America, they're able to make the phone calls. So they are sort of really, I take a view of where are the students based and make sure that there's a support call that they can make, because I think the support and the connection with others is key.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yes. No, honestly, I think it sounds absolutely wonderful. I love the way that you've taken this adversity that that we've all been faced with and actually turned it into a real asset for your school. I think that's absolutely remarkable. So very, very well done. And when you're sort of looking at the sort of student, your ideal student, who is it that you feel that the work that you do and what the work that you teach, who would be your sort of ideal student? And who out there, if anybody's listening in and thinking, gosh, I really fancy this, what would you say to them to actually sort of help them to understand whether, your training might be the sort of thing that would suit them?
Generally, when I look at my clients, they're intuitive, sensitive women. Quite often they are very energetically aware, but where I try and bridge that gap is taking that intuitive and nurturing side and helping them create a structure where they can professionally support clients. And so it allows them to have that intuitive, supportive nature, but they've got a professional structure that they can follow. And I think that's really important because it keeps the clients safe and it keeps the students safe.
I couldn't agree more, Sarah. I think that's incredibly important, and I do think that what you're offering is absolutely remarkable, and it's very interesting because some of the insurance companies out there would be saying their position was always, oh no, we're not going to cover anything that's delivered online. But I love the way that you are making you're setting really firm boundaries. You're obviously teaching that in your work as well, which I think is extraordinarily important. And the safety of the client at the end of the day. Also, actually, the safety, spiritual and psychological safety of the trainer is so important, isn't it?
Absolutely. And the first part of the course is really working through and making sure that the practitioner or would-be practitioner is supported and is really clear in themselves before they're trying to help other people. And that's a big part of the work.
Yes, absolutely. I think it's remarkable. I really think that what you're doing is a fantastic service for people out there. Honestly, it's so needed. And I feel, everybody, if they're working with you, they're going to be in amazingly safe hands. And I think that's just absolutely wonderful. So if anybody was excited and really sort of thinking, gosh, I want to train with Sarah, which I would, how would one best go about contacting you, Sarah?
If you're on Facebook, I've got a Facebook page, so that's called Positive Happy Me. Okay. My naming of the group was very intentional because I think we all need to be positive and happy, and we need to be mindful of our emotions to be so. So Positive Happy Me is the Facebook page. It's the same on Instagram, or I've got positivehappyme.co.uk, all one word.
Lovely. Okay, that's fantastic. And I should say, for anybody watching this on the Complementary Medical Association YouTube channel, if you didn't catch that, don't worry, because all you need to do is there's a little arrow at the bottom of the right hand side of the screen as you're looking at it. There's a little down arrow. If you click on that, then the show notes will open, and my colleague Megan will have put all of Sarah's details in there for you anyway, just to make it extra easy to contact her. Sarah, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you would like to mention in closing at all?
I would just like to say that I'm really happy to be working with you guys at the CMA, because the difference of how you stepped up during COVID to some of the other areas within holistic therapies has been amazing. And I think it's that whole support thing. Your ethos in the CMA is exactly the same as mine, which is why it married together so well. But just thank you for that, because it is appreciated.
Oh, Sarah, thank you so much for saying so. That's really lovely. And notice you got your CMA lapel badge on there.
Yeah, I've got my badge on.
Represent. Lovely. No, thank you. It meant a heck of a lot to us to step up. And it's really beautiful that you've recognised that. And thank you so very much for mentioning it. It's very kind. Really appreciated. And your time today is really appreciated, Sarah. Thank you so much. I know you're an incredibly busy lady, but I really do hope that people will actually get a lot of value out of this video. I'm sure they will. And I do recommend everybody contact you, because you are doing extraordinary work, and we're very grateful to you. You're making a huge difference in the world. So thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you for being with me today.
Thank you, Janie. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.